Kristian Hornsleth, you are a visual artist who works in many different media and based in Copenhagen. And we would like to welcome you to York Avenue Productions.
Thank you.
I'll start off by asking you, when and why did you first think of yourself as an artist? Could you say something about the events or circumstances in your life that led to this?
It's always been sort of a, what do you call it, an exclusion race. I was just heading somewhere, and I took, I opt out certain things. I didn't want that. In high school, I was terrified of the idea of sitting in an office and working. All my friends, they wanted to business school and wanted to go do an MBA and go to London and abuse people in the city of London. But I was scared, and so I that's how, it was unsettling, the whole thing. And at some point, I think I was very interested in music, listened to a lot of classical music, maybe also through my father who listened to this, and I connected somehow with that. And then I also in high school, I sort of actually even before, I was very, very proud of being kicked out of the school magazine in fourth grade because I wanted to do 2 pages of lying. Imagine fake news in 1975 or whatever, and because the girls in the group said it was a waste of paper, so I got excluded there. And the idea of making people read something which was not true would kind of wake them up. So it was a sort of like an interest. And then I also remember I had a stepdad. He's dead now, but he was a good guy, and but he was the son of a priest. And when he came into my family, my father and mother was divorced when I was 10, 11, and this guy came into my life, and I was annoyed by the fact there's another man I had to eat dinner with. But he turned out fine after years. But in the beginning, I could just press the button and said, God doesn't exist. It's a fucking lie. And it's just here to abuse people and get money out of the poor, uneducated. If you believe in God, you're either stupid or poor or both. And I didn't know where it came from. And he got freaked out. And my mom would say, can you just be quiet in one dinner party? It's like, and I felt the power of conceptual thinking and being, my mother would say, why are you always opposite? And it's not about being opposite. It's about being provoked by the shit we live in and the things that goes on. And then I started later I went to study geology, and because I saw some ads about going into the mountain and finding gold mines, I could see that, but it's too hard with the physics. And then I came to architecture school, and I finished that. So I have a master's in architecture, but I never had a job. But during that process, I met people, and then I kind of saw that the power of art, artistic thinking, and that you could think something and then produce it. You could make like a thought construction. You could design something in your mind, and you could make a physical object out of it. And architecture is that. Besides, you have to think about heating and insulation and all that. So that didn't interest me. So I made sculptures, and I got out of there with, graduated with a house that built of noise. And my old professor Henning Larsen, who was a big guy at that time, he said, okay, either it's genius or it's mad, but I'll let you through. And so I got my papers, and then I was out. And then I just made a studio. I tried to read hundreds of books about art because I was curious what is this transition between idea and object, and so I kind of slided into it. That would be my answer.
So when did you think of yourself as an artist for the first time?
To be very honest, I don't know what an artist is. I don't feel like when I say, when people introduce me, no, this is the visual artist. Oh yeah, that's me. I don't think about myself as an artist. I think if I was more intelligent or more you know blessed with a more strong ability to read, I would probably be a philosopher. But I'm too much ADHD, or what do you call it? I too much Asperger to concentrate and read a book. I have to be physical about it. So I think the next best thing you could be in life is somebody who makes objects out of what other people think. Or so there's a layer there.
Could it be sort of like people often don't think of themselves as grown-ups, even though they are?
That's a big thing. Yeah, I love that statement because my one of my best friends, the writer Ben Q. Holm, he said, "Oh, Kristian, you never passed 12 years. What the fuck?"
You've maintained the spontaneity necessary.
Yeah. And I tell all the children I meet, when the parents are listening, that I will say, all grown-ups are lying all the time.
Pretending they're grown-ups.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. How do you typically create a work of art? Could you tell us how the idea for a work of art comes to you, and maybe give a few examples?
It mainly comes from seeing something, reading something on the news, or seeing something in the city land. It's very much to do with reaction to certain things. For instance, yesterday I had a great idea, and I thought myself, but when you see a building with, let's say, a logo on it, like Danske Bank or Rolex or Nike, I was thinking that the Hornsleth way of writing it should be made into a sign or in Rolex letters, and then it would be made in Photoshop, and then like editions of where kind of the idea of Hornsleth would take over other brands, but in their language. And I made some tests about it on YouTube, and it looks very funny. And because you see Rolex letters or Nike, but you read Hornsleth. And that's how it, I lived in London for a few years, and I wondered, why do you have so many homeless people? I mean, it's the richest city in the world. Why would anybody live like this? And then I started to investigate. I met an English filmmaker, and now we're, this year, after 4 years, we're coming out with a huge documentary about. So I see a photograph in the newspaper of some sexy lady on the front of a car, and I say, I'll just steal the image and start painting on it like a reaction. It's all about, for me, a response to the wonderful, chaotic bullshit we're living in. In order to, I don't know if it's correct term, but this Socratic dialectics, I think that I can, with my viewers, could look at the painting and they say, yeah, he's got a point. Maybe I'll vote for Enhedslisten next time, because maybe they'll take more care of the drinking water in the society. Or, think about, would you rather be, when you get old, would you rather be taken care of by the blue Van Opslag Liberal Alliance, or would you rather be taken care of the red socialist? Who's going to wipe your ass more gently when you get into the old home? A guy in the right wing who's like looking at the clock because he has to do 10 of them, or the left wings who like, I don't give a shit, I get my money anyway. Where are we in this? So that's the...
Okay. Well, this leads very well into the next question, which is, what for you is the nature and purpose of art? And how do you feel a work of art is to be distinguished from an object or an event that is not a work of art?
First of all, I'm not sure what art is in a way. I think it's a strange term. I used to say to my good friend, art historian in Berlin, Wolf Gunther, we always talk about, we don't care if it's art. If it's interesting, it's interesting. It's a label that is it has no use in a way. It has a label that we can use for marketing and make old rich lady buy it in a gallery. But, and we needed to market it. But what is art? On the other hand, you're also right that it is sort of a spiritual awkwardness to an object which reminds you of something else. It's almost like an avatar for another. We divinify certain objects, and then, ooh, it's an artwork. It has the key to understand why we're here and what we're doing, or not. It's a very vague answer, but it's in that area I fluctuate.
Well, what about the intention of the artist? Do you think the intention of an artist makes it into art, or can something become a work of art without the intention? Like I spill the paint, or I intend to paint it a certain way.
Yeah, I think there are two ways. There's either you define it yourself, as they say normally in art school. If you decide it's art, it's art. You don't have to think it's art, but and if you see a splash on the sidewalk and you say, oh God, I can see myself. I can see the universe here. I can see something bigger than myself. It reminds me of something. It's almost like having a dog. My wife has a dog, a beautiful golden, and she's saying like, oh, he wants to do this. He wants to go. He thinks, no, you project it in, and you have a great experience projecting your thoughts into that poor dog, and you live through your dog. Great for you. It's better than MDMA. Yeah. So the artwork can be the aspects of what an artwork can do. The function of it is for me it's like poetry. You read it, you look at it, and you get some endorphin. You get some serotonin going. You think about something great, but maybe I'm a little bit different here, because I think actually that there is a huge purpose socially. Maybe I'm different than other, because I think what do we need it for? Why do we do art? Is it for entertainment of the rich and the powerful, to make them look more sexy in the Leonardo da Vinci way? Or is it that if people look at it, they'll vote next time more cleverly on a more fair and just world?
Well, this comes back to the question of, is art based on the intention of the artist? So you have an intention in making your work, but someone else may come and see it and think of it in a totally different way, that it's got nothing to do with what you think of.
I have, I think, for my work, I have a huge intention to annoy people the most, and giving them a kick in the stomach, and give them like a recognition or something. But I know many artists who said, I don't care what people think. I do this because I'm interested in how the yellow meets the green, and I'm interested in stuff. And that's the beauty of it, that it can be many things. For me, it's more like a weapon, a tool.
Yeah, so provocation is important for you, right? But someone else might see your work, not be provoked by it, and still think it's art. One
of my big problems or also big advantages is that if I write, on a naked woman, fuck my brains out, and paint splashing all over, and I have a lot of like hard ass people who buy, yeah, fuck them, and then I have some guys from Roskilde University, yes. It's an ironic statement about how advertisement is going berserk and going over all the moral boundaries, and you have to use naked women to sell soap these days. It's over that's Neanderthal thinking. It's like the capitalism on speed. You have to go so far in order to sell your shit that you have to abuse people visually. So it's a comment on that. So I'm in that area. So I make money here and become famous there, and make a little money there, and scare the hell out of it. It's the chaos of misunderstanding, the aesthetics of misunderstanding.
Yeah, no, that may well be what art is, that people can just interpret it any way you want. Well, maybe you could tell us then, who are the artists who have most influenced you, and how have they influenced you?
Many. I mean, I absolutely love Caravaggio because I read all about him. There's a very good English art historian, Andrew Graham Dixon, wrote some amazing book about the life and work of Caravaggio, because he was He was like a bank robber. He was a fighter. He was openly what do you call, both gay and not gay. He was always in trouble with money, but he made this. The way he worked was always questioning power structures inside, even though he was a friend of the cardinal. So, and also Andy Warhol, great guy, because he wouldn't say out loud, but it was a complete very intelligent social criticism, and the rich and powerful were buying into this two-dimensional sad world that he represented, and then I like a lot of the conceptual artists like Bruce Nauman, who's like really hardcore, William Anastasi, Oppenheimer, like people who does structural things. You know, if you saw my own art collection, it's very weird. It's all a lot of minimal stuff. There's a lot of shitty answer, but I there's a many something. It's more about do they have something new and interesting and crazy to say about the world? And I mean,
yeah, okay. And where do you see your artistic development going from here? What do you think you will be doing, say, artistically, if we can use that word, in 5 years?
Well, in 5 years I'll have Folkepension. That's new for me. I've no idea how I made it so far. 65 in 5 years from now. But clearly I don't have the same energy, and I'm tired of, and also tired of the system. I'm tired of the art world. Yeah. I'm tired of always having to make 500,000 kroner every month to make the company run.
So is this a statement on you're going to give up art in 5
yes.
years?
That'll
be your artistic statement.
I already gave up, but I'm living on the fumes now. No. But now, I if I know myself, something will pop up, and right now I'm doing a museum in Vaspegade, down in Sydhavnen. I'm working on trying to save a lot of my old projects and trying to find a space where I can show everything and collect. Many of my projects are spread out all different warehouses and strange. Maybe I'm in a stage where I need to collect and find one place to, maybe an old farm in the countryside, and collect everything at one place. And then I want to do the film, the homeless film, and I have a few more big projects like that. So the answer is I don't know. Every time I say I'm tired and I want to do it, I next day, why don't we do this? Why don't we do that?
Yeah, you can't help yourself.
Yeah, I can't help it. I'll die with my boots on.
Yeah, that's the way to go. Okay, well, Kristian, thank you very much for taking your time.
Yes.
And we hope everything goes well for you in the 5 years and beyond.
Yes, and please go into hornsleth.com or hornslethshop.com and buy stuff. Support your local artist.
Thank you.